Understand your country. That is how you can legislate better. That is how you're going to know if we are passing the sugar bill, if we are passing the coffee bill. If you have never been to a coffee growing area, what meaningful contribution can you make in parliament? I encourage you, and I am saying this from experience. I remember I went to Vanga. I wish Chief Oromodo was here, the MP from that corner. I went to Vanga in 1998. I was member of parliament for Eldoret North. I met a gentleman there called Ngare. I still have his phone number today. Nikimpigia anachukua. You know, that's how you build a network. You know? Si mumesema ati tuko na marais hapa? Ama mulisema namna gani? Wako? Network. Weka network. Anza kupanga network. Mnanielewa? When you get a chance on the floor of parliament to legislate on matters that affect our country, use that platform to make our country better. The quality of legislation is going to be determined to a great extent by what government does, but it will be influenced by how parliament executes and make sure the legislation is in place. So, my friends, this evening is short. I just wanted to give you some snippets of what I think you should do. When I say leadership is serious business and it determines the destiny of nations, I will give you two examples. Last year, we made a decision that we are going to change the funding structure. Right? Last year. And we said, it is not tenable. You know, we must be honest with ourselves. We said that we were going to pay 80% for every student who goes to university. We could not afford it. So for almost 15 years, we knew we could not do it, but the problem is that nobody wanted to make the decision to say, let us change it. So tukaendelea, you know, we are only giving 40% of the money, we are promised 80%. So bills in a build-up kwa university, universities started to pay lecturers half salary, accumulated debts. They now have debts of like 60 billion. So last year, I made the decision and said, we are going to change the funding structure. Parliament, of course, was very hostile, said, no, look at this guy. He has introduced fees in the university. Namnai. Anyway, let me give you the good news. Last week, I was with 41 vice-chancellors from our universities. Because we changed the funding model and we said, scholarship is not going to be available automatic. You're going to apply. Do you know what happened? 20% of the students, 18,000 students last year, did not apply for any scholarship. Their parents paid without asking government to support. And these are students we were imposing scholarships on, and yet their parents could afford. So what has that done? It has released more money for us to take care of vulnerable students. But when it was in parliament, I could see many members of parliament walikuwa wananipigia kelele sana. Let me give you another example. Last year, we made a decision. We brought it to parliament. Makelele ilikuwa mingi. Tukasema, we are putting a levy so that we don't have to import clinker, we don't have to import cement, we don't have to import furniture, we don't have to import, there was a fourth thing there. So, steel, steel. Then industry went up and said, no, you see, okay? So this year, we had a conversation with industry, but we stood our ground because we said, if we have sufficient manufacturing capacity locally, if we have manufacturing capacity for steel, for cement, for clinker, for furniture locally, why do we have to import? And if you want to import because you feel like importing, pay a levy. Do you know what happened this year? The same Kenya Association of Manufacturers, and they were sitting with me yesterday, they were complaining about the levy of 17.5%. So we told them, okay, let us reduce it to 10. Yesterday, they came back to me and told me, no, Mr. President, let's give it a 17. What has happened? You know, you are right, actually. We have decided to invest in local manufacture. If you remove this levy, those imports are going to destroy our investment. Mnanielewa? When we were making the decision last year, it was not popular, it was not right, people were making noise. Today, the same people who are making noise at us are telling us, keep the levy because we have done the right thing. We have invested, more companies in Kenya are now manufacturing cement, they are now manufacturing clinker, and they are now manufacturing steel. Why am I telling you this? I am telling you this, that leadership is not always about taking the popular decisions. It is about taking the right decisions always. I will give you one final thing so that I let you go. You remember last year we came up with a fertilizer subsidy program. And many of you who come from farming areas, you know DAP has been our fertilizer for the last 30 years. Everybody believes DAP is the only fertilizer. So last year, because as a farmer myself, I know DAP is the wrong fertilizer because it has made our soils acidic. And I stopped using fertilizer DAP almost 5 years ago because it is wrong. But then last year, when we made the decision, Ministry of Agriculture came and told me that, you know, Mr. President, we must bring fertilizer if the farmers have to buy. Otherwise, the farmers will rebel, they will not buy. The farmers have insisted it must be DAP. I told them, we are not going to buy DAP. We are going to buy NPK that is customized for our soils, that is customized for our crops, because science that is available at the Ministry of Agriculture gives us the specifications for regions, for crops. We are going to go as per the scientific specifications, forget about the DAP. Simuliana wakulima wakienda kupiga kelele, walipiga kelele huko, serikali imetuletea fertilizer hatujui, wamekataa kutuletea DAP, hatutaki, we have rejected. Finally, because it was subsidized, the farmers bought the fertilizer. 6 months into the story, all the farmers were there taking selfies with maize. Oh, the maize is very nice. The same farmers who are telling us we've given them the wrong stuff. So, I want to request KYPA across party lines to work with us to change this country. We can do it. We can do it if we make the right decisions. Because of time, I will leave it there for tonight. Lakini mimi niko na maneno. niko na maneno. Sasa, nataka mjipange tukutane. Ndio tuongee. Because I am very passionate about the future of Kenya. And we must make the right decisions. We must make the right decisions. Because this country, our transformation has been delayed for far too long. We can turn around this country in record time. And I know you as young people, you should be able to see where we want to go, and we should be able, across party lines, to see how we can change our country. This evening, I will be going to Italy for the meeting of the G7. Kenya is not a member of the G7, but we've been invited, 2 presidents from Africa. And because we are discussing 2 very fundamental subjects, artificial intelligence and climate change. Both subjects have a huge bearing on young people. And the president of UAE will be in that meeting because between UAE, Kenya, Microsoft, we are setting up the largest data center in Africa of $1 billion in Naivasha, and it will be driven by AI. That is the negotiations we had in America when I was there. And that is the future. And I'm very happy, I was very happy to hear here that members of KYPA are already figuring out the digital space and the artificial intelligence space. This morning, I got a brief from the envoy that I have appointed on artificial intelligence, Mr. Thigo from Kenya. Because we cannot afford to be left behind again as a country or as a region. We must be on the table as we discuss regulations, legislation that is going to manage AI going into the future. So I hope again we will find another opportunity to sit down and have this conversation. Otherwise, I wish you well. You have my support. I am very, very proud of the young people in my administration. I am very proud. And the young people in our party have not let us down. If I were to choose, I will choose them again. Right from Kimani Ichungwah here, a very young person, very resourceful, through to Aaron Cheriot there, through to all the chairmen from Kimani, Kuria of Molo. He's doing a fantastic job. Sometimes I have to straighten him. I remember maybe about 3 years ago, I had to call him to my home in Sugoi. I told him, kuja uketi hapa. And I sat him down and gave him some, father-son chat for about 2 hours. Because I could see potential in him, lakini kidogo alikuwa anateleza. All these young people, I have always called them. I remember one time, Gaceri sent me a message. Remember? She told me, Mr. President, this position, I am sorry, I have to differ with you on this one. Because the ground is hot. Nikamtumia message ya Gaceri, nikamwambia Gaceri, listen. If your principles, because she said, as a matter of principle, I told her, if your principles are at variance with your party, you damn your principles, you support your party. That is the rule. And I'm very proud that she did. Yeah? So all these, slowly by slowly, we will get better leaders out of all you guys. I remember I have had to sit down with Kimani Ichungwah. And I like Ichungwah because he listens. And I've had to tell him, this is how to say it. Don't say it this way. It means the same thing, but it has different connotation if you say it this way. I've had to call Ndindi Nyoro, sit him down and tell him, look, usisimame hapo unasema sisi wa Kikuyu. Ngamwambia no. Hiyo lugha wacha. If you must say, sema sisi watu ya Central Province. You know, it's the same thing, but it is softer. Huh? Just the same way, I cannot say sisi wa Kalenjin. You know, sisi watu ya Rift Valley, namna hii, you know. So, you know, and it's just figure of speech so that you don't send a connotation of the wrong things. You wanted to pass a message, but you end up passing the wrong message. So, namna hiyo. And I have called many of these people, and these young people. Waambia hapana, usitazeme hivi, kaa namna hii, kaa namna hii. So this mentorship is real. So sometimes many of you people think that we are talking about mentorship in space. And it is about small things that eventually makes leaders better people. Don't shy from making mistakes. You will make mistakes here. That's why I was saying earlier, perfect should not be the enemy of good. You know, as you try to be perfect, you will make mistakes, but that is the journey towards being good and finally being perfect, if at all there is anything like that. Sawa sawa. So, and sometimes I call some of you just to tell you, look, hapo umepitisha kidogo. Usifanye namna hiyo. Hata huyo soro nimempigia nikamwambia hapana. So I take time because I really want the best for Kenya, and I want the best for all of us. And it is the thing that costs me nothing, but it benefits other leaders more. So tuendelee namna hiyo, tutazidi na kushirikiana. Even this Sakaja, I have called him and sat him down. It's true.